in Girdwood today. If you're looking, I'm live on YouTube now. Lovely. Okay, and then if you wouldn't mind sending me a link, I'm gonna do some umbrella work. I think. Let's see. What do I need to be doing here? Trying to think of order of operations. It's very rainy right now for anybody watching, so kind of trying to figure out how to pull this off. It is gorgeous though. This is what we're looking at. It is beautiful, but it is rainy. So so we're gonna figure this out. Let's see. Can I kind of show you what I'm looking at when I go like this? Yeah. Yeah, this is today's, like, this is what we're seeing. Pretty wild. So maybe here. Maybe if I move my backpack up, you can see a little better here. Don't mind me. There we go. Consider it done. Okay. I'm just creating a makeshift tripod, which is going to be today's backpack. Okay, there we are. So if I just tentatively place this right here. I have so many tripods and things in my life. You'd think I'd be able to figure this out. There we go. Okay, great. Hot diggity. So this is what we're painting today, which is crazy. So we're gonna give this a go. And then Jen, if you wouldn't mind, yeah, isn't that cool? It is. I mean, Idaho's cool and all, but okay. And Jen, you just sent this there, so I'm gonna text this to my. No. Okay. Please hold. Let me just grab this. Copy. Okay. And then yeah, I don't know how, Jen, if you're in the chat and you want to kind of let people know that I deleted YouTube, so I can't answer YouTube comments, but you can text them to me. Okay, and then I'll text this to. All right, we'll just send this to a few family, dad. This is me sending this to my family because they occasionally like to make sure that I'm in okay shape. Okay. So just sending this there. Then I'm going to try to make a really long painting here, physically long and also long. So we're going to give this a go. Okay. And away we go. All right. Now, where were we? All right. Here we were. Okay, so this is what we're working on today, and it's ridiculous, as you can probably see. But the hard part now is, like, what of it to sketch. So I'm thinking I'm going to start with an umbrella. This is the only umbrella I have, which is good because it's awesome. And we're going to just give it a go here. But I'm not sure if I can cover, like, my workspace and me with it. So here we are. Let's see, did I press a button? All right. Houston, we have an umbrella. And let's see, does this need to be lower or higher? What am I doing here? Yeah, I guess so. If I have one hand just kind of umbrella holding, and then maybe I move my table a little closer. I got into some trouble last time because I really just kind of penned myself in, but I fear I'm doing it again right here. That's all right. We'll give it a try. Okay. I need like a stand that I can put my umbrella over or on. I feel like that would be the real trick. All right, so I'm just gonna scoot this down too. Oh, did you hear that? Here comes the echo. Ready? There's the echo. Did you hear that? I think that's a mortar round. And I'll explain that in one moment once I figure this out. All right, so I'm just going to put this facing that way. I think that should work. Maybe? Let's try it out. Okay. I can't see Twitch comments. Yeah, here, I'm going to check on those in one moment. And Oh, perfect. That sounds good. Okay, there we go. All right, everybody. Hey, so here's the situation. I am right below Alyeska, which is way up there. I'd move this, but I can't because it's precariously balanced. Alyeska is way up there. There's a tiny bit of sun over. These are some gorgeous mountains. I'm here on the Girdwood trails. This is Moose Meadow, and I don't have access to YouTube because I deleted it from my phone because I was getting a little too addicted. So comments are being relayed from my friend Jen, who's like producer behind Trailbound, who is sending them to my ears. So I will hear them. But we're hearing the sound of a howitzer. Was that what you were saying? Is that the howitzer, which is like an artillery, you know, like put the thing in the thing and then it shoots. There's like a garage up there that's a howitzer. They're firing rounds at the mountain, which then explode. Not to like, you know, like fight the mountain. They're trying to send avalanches down and like shock the mountain into making avalanches, which will make this safer because Alyeska has so much snow. Kind of wild stuff. So, all right, so here we are. We are going to be doing some sketching today. I think that is up and running, is it not? Yes, it is. Let's see. So here is the plan for today. And we're doing the Mary Poppins thing because I chose to try to do a big, long sketch in Girdwood when it's raining, but, like, let's be honest, it's usually raining in Girdwood, so it's not like that is too much of a surprise, or at least I shouldn't be too surprised. But, you know, hey, sometimes an umbrella is sort of all you need. Okay, so let me see if I can... I really should just be able to, like... They should have umbrella stands, you know, not to, like, hold, but, like, do what my hand is doing right here. Okay, so we have some... we got some colors today. These are what we're working on. These are, well, just all the colors. It's kind of my standard Alaska palette. I may or may not be working with a pencil or watercolor pencil. These are my watercolor pencils. I reserve the right to use these if I need to, just because when paper gets wet, it's really, really, really hard to draw on them with pen or pencil. So we're going to kind of see how today goes. And then, of course, a couple of these. Got some watercolor pencil, got some colored pencils, 2 brushes, 1 and 2. And then I've got a little thing of gin right here. It's cold. It's definitely warmer than it has been, but it's still pretty cold. So might need some of that. And then I have a little bit of tea, both for myself and because there's not a whole lot of liquid water around us right now. So we're going to use all of those. And then, this stuff gets really fun. I've got one of these cool, nifty little accordion notebooks from Etcher that are like as long as you could possibly want, which will make things exciting and different, considering that this landscape is ridiculous. And actually, before I start, this isn't necessarily cheating, but here, this is kind of key, is to take a quick reference photo of everything, because Girdwood in particular has this real interesting habit of being absolutely socked in like some of the wildest ways. So we're just going to take a bunch of reference photos. There we go. All set on that front. And now let the fun begin. Okay. And I'll check in on comments in 1 second here. Once I figure out what I'm doing. I can feel the rain coming down. I think the biggest thing is going to be just getting this initial outline in. That's going to be the hardest bit to start with. Okay. Especially doing it one-handed. All right, here we are. I basically just emptied this out so that I can go live, I don't know, down here or something. And now, let's go. And I'm on the Moose Meadow Trail right now. This is a gorgeous trail. The Girdwood Nordic Ski Club does some incredible work with their trails. Like, they're a big ski mountain, obviously. It's right there. It's very cool. But there's good Nordic skiing here. There's good hiking. Like, Girdwood's kind of where it's at. Not to hype them up too much, but can't let it go to their heads. Okay, which side is up? Do I even know? I think this side is up. There we are. And let's... Oh, boy. I don't even know how to start this. I mean, it is so gorgeous. Like, can you see all this stuff? Like, Alyeska's right there, looking just mighty, and it's got a little bit of sun. Sort of, this stuff is just something else. and I have to figure out exactly how much of this I want, because technically, if we wanted, I could use like all of this could be painted. But it's really just kind of a matter of timing and weather and rain. Okay, I could really use a second or third or fourth hand. Not just with painting, but like parenting and everything too. Why haven't we done that? Why are we messing with other stuff when we could be making more hands? All right, let me just, step one is I'm gonna, if I can, I'm gonna just do a big old clamp. And then we're gonna clamp, another little clamp. Real clampy about it. I'm gonna clamp a clamp right here. Let's put this right here. Okay, work fast. I'm trying to be kind of extra quick about it because I don't want to get to the point where this is too wet. I do need it relatively dry to be able to paint on with the pencil. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are in good shape. We should probably get like a space pen. I think you can use those things. Oh wait, let's glove it up. I don't know why I'm degloved. That's not it. Let's try this. I am right in the middle of the path, so there's a real good chance that some dogs come and say hi, which I'm counting on, but we'll see. It could make some paintings exciting. All right, here we are. We have, yeah. Okay. Yes. Now, let me see. I'm just going to quickly... Here we are. Okay. Whew, this is going to be fun. So I am in Girdwood here. While I make this initial sketch of these mountains, I just got to shout out to Girdwood really quick, because it is, this spot is awesome. Oh, here comes some skiers. This spot is awesome. This is also known as Glacier City, and a lot of it's because there's seven glaciers you can see from here, which is just kind of stunning. And so let's see, hold on. Here goes the brain. I've left brain power for about one thing at a time right now. So I'm just going to add some initial kind of horizon line. Hello. No, not logging birds. I am trying to make a sketch, but we're going to see how it goes. I'm trying to make a watercolor, but chose the perfect time to do it. So we'll see. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's literally a line right now. So, real minimalist modern art, but soon this should, there's another howitzer around. Soon this should, it's an accordion notebook. So if I can, I'll kind of start here and see how much of the landscape I can get.
So cool. Well, we're going to do the loop, so we'll come back and check your part.
Okay. No, this will be good. Yeah. You can make sure I still have fingers and toes. Right, yeah. Yeah, a 10 would probably be the real trick, but I'll, the Mary Poppins style works pretty well for now. Have a good one. Okay, so we have our initial outline right here. Sorry, let me see. There we go. So we have initial outline right here, and I'm wondering if I should kind of... Are you hearing this? Oh my God. And then you get these, you're not hearing this? Okay, so let me describe it for you. So there's this massive boom. It kind of sounds like a dump truck, just tipped over or something like that. And then it's coming from over here, kind of firework style, which I think, frankly, is probably what they're using, is basically a giant firework. And then, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. And then, so they're firing it up here, but then there's this pause, and then you hear kind of this it almost sounds like a plane taking off from the surrounding mountains, because it's just echoing through this valley. It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Okay, so here's sort of the initial sketch. I think, unless you want to see me sketch this out, let me show you what I'm sketching here. Just see, that's actually way cooler. So way up here. There are 7 glaciers. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And so Girdwood used to be like bigger than Anchorage. Not that it's not small now, but like Girdwood used to be massive in a pretty cool way. Let's add a little bit of these. Gonna get some trees in there. Girdwood used to be massive in a pretty significant way, and it's got like tons of character because it used to be this huge kind of mining spot. But then as things changed and like during the war, there's like a couple of huge things that kind of shifted Girdwood. One was the World War II, and a lot of people don't know it, but the U.S. got invaded by Japan during World War II. Alaska, which is part of the U.S., got invaded, and I don't know if I love what I just did here. Alaska got invaded, and it was like a big deal for Japan, but they kind of played it off and like made it really secret. But actually, more people died in the invasion of Alaska, which is mostly just these 2 islands. But more people died here than during Pearl Harbor, which is huge on both sides. And that kind of like pushed the government into realizing like, oh, we kind of got to defend this place because it's enormous and very close to everybody else, sort of. So they shifted a bunch of things. Anchorage became really big, and then Girdwood, which was kind of one of the bigger towns, became more, well, I mean, like a lot of it became, very, the military had like a big presence kind of in Alaska, and it kind of shifted where things were and ports and all of this crazy stuff. And that was like in the 40s. But then later in the 1960s, we had this huge earthquake, which like, just about this time of year, I believe it was Easter Sunday. So this huge earthquake rolled in, speaking of like big loud sounds, but 9 point something, absolutely colossal earthquake. And it just shook Alaska near Valdez, I believe, which is pretty close to Girdwood when you're talking about tectonic plates. And it just shook Alaska a ton. And Girdwood, which was way down there, kind of by the coast, like, the town was big, but like kind of mostly by the coast, it got just absolutely shooken apart. Like the sea level just dropped like these huge amounts. And so it's actually moved a lot of the town kind of up here because it sort of dropped and a lot of the tidal waters just kind of rushed in. There's actually petrified trees still from that initial time. But it's one of these really cool places with a ton of history and a lot of just like character, but then it's also a great ski town. It has like these really wonderful like spots to eat, like the bake shop, which has the best sticky buns perhaps anywhere. And it's just a cool spot. I love Girdwood. And my wife grew up pretty close to here. She grew up in Bird, which is kind of on the way to Girdwood, very small place, but she spent a lot of time in and around Girdwood, because this is sort of this is where she'd go for ski lessons, and this is kind of the next biggest place. So there's a lot of fondness for Girdwood and her family. Okay, so making some of these initial sketches, just trying to kind of get a bit of a like. This is gonna be I think this might be a big painting. We're gonna see. I'm just kind of trying to get an initial something down. Maybe I should do it with all of it. How do I even do something? Like, this is such a big landscape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this. I'll show you what I'm working on here. I'm going to pull this, and I'm going to... All right. So I have kind of my initial stuff. And what I might have to do is unclamp this. Oh, sorry. Let me just quickly check, see how people are doing on the comments. Oop. First off, there are no dumb questions. So if you have any questions, I so appreciate the comments, because usually what it means is that you are brave enough to ask the question and somebody else is thinking it and then they didn't ask the question. So if you do have any questions, definitely drop them in the comments. And you're asking about colors and how to keep colors. So basically, usually you can kind of have there's like 2 ways you can do it. You can do either where you have like a blot cloth, like a piece of paper towel or a piece of cloth, and or you can just kind of have 2 little rinse jars. So once you have your paint sorry, let me just fight with this a little bit. Once you have your paint, then you can kind of fill it, you can kind of rinse it out in the jar. I'll show you an example. That's going to be easier than fighting with this. Okay, let's see. So we have this, that comes down. There are trees here. Let me just think here. So then this goes up, around, and over, and then down here. That is an absolutely colossal mountain. That's another colossal mountain. This goes up like this, down right here, over. Am I doing this right? Okay, so this is that one. That's a glacier here. Oh boy. The problem is, like, a lot of people know these mountains like the back of their hand, and I'm kind of just giving it a rough go. So I really don't want to get them wrong. It's like, normally I say this about faces too. Like, you know, if you do a mountain wrong, very few people notice. If you do a face wrong, people are like, "How dare you? That is my face." But Girdwood might be the exception, where if you do a mountain wrong, they might be like, "How dare you? That is our place, not our face, but our place." Okay, so here's this trees coming up, going over to the side, and then we have Berry Pass way up here, just adding. And oh my gosh, is that sun on my face? What is happening there? Hold on, that is very confusing. And then right here we have this. That kind of clicks into here. Here we have a bunch of trees, and this will be pretty rough. I'll come back in with some colored pencil and maybe some pen in just a second, and that is going to kind of bring in the rest of this. Right here we got a big tree. This is how rough I usually am, kind of in the initials. You must have heard that one. That was a big one. That was they're attacking a mountain right now. The funny thing is, the mountain's going to win every time. But there must be a lot of snow up there. They are really sending those things off. Okay, a little bit here. We're going to push these kind of up and up and up and up. A lot of these cool little things. Okay, here we go. Tree. This actually is going to end here. Then this little bit goes up and around. And so this is how I kind of talk to my paint. So I'm just kind of trying to get my initial stuff in here. It's not going to be perfect, but it's a go. My grandmother, hers, like, she was such a good sketcher. Hers are like, you could find them to the, like, she left all these sketches of Alaska, like Portage and a lot of these glaciers. She left these incredible sketches behind that are so accurate that they only line up when you are where she was. And that's kind of the dream. But until I get to her level, I'll be happy with what I do. There's another one. Okay, and there's another one for you. I'm telling you, these are big things. Okay, a little bit right here. A little tree. That's right. Yes. So, the remnants of the earthquakes, these ghost forests. So what happened is you have this giant kind of sea level drop, right? Like, you're talking, like, things drop like 30 feet, I think, in some places, which is great. Like, not the land, not like a single spot, like a hole is one thing, like just the straight up land dropped like 30 feet in some places. And so you have these like really, really dramatic drops, and all these forests that were just forest basically just sucked up a bunch of salt water, kind of petrified themselves, which is pretty wild when you think about it. And so, yeah, Girdwood's got like history, but it's also just like a fun place to hang out. This stream is not brought to you by like the Chamber of Commerce in Girdwood, by the way. Like, they're just like that nice that they're worth mentioning. This town is good stuff. Okay, so we have a little bit of this tree, and now let's just, how many more pages do we want to add? The problem is it's like kind of like a buffet, right? Like, the more I do, the more work I'm gonna have to do, but it all looks so good right now. I just want to do all of it. Okay, working our way up and up and up, and then right over kind of here. This is technically going up Alyeska, but I might have reached my limit of what I can actually pull off. I'm below Alyeska. It's looking gorgeous, but it's a bit socked in, so I might stick with these mountains just for now. Don't be mad. Okay. We got some trees rolling and rocking, and then some more trees coming up here. Yes. So with painting, I paint what I see, or do I paint, like some other way? Oh, and here's our trail. Sorry, let me quickly get our trail in here. What am I doing? I have found that a lot of times I do paint what I see. I oftentimes paint what I feel instead, which it sounds kind of funny, but like the struggle is, first off, you've got to kind of like wrap your brain around. You got to wrap your brain around like making a sketch, and you're not always sketching what is, if you see like a mountain, it should be this shape, you might paint it that shape, but it won't feel right, because you gotta paint what's there, not necessarily what is there. Same with colors and shades and all this stuff. But when it comes to color, I used to try to be very accurate, like try to be exactly correct, and try to do everything I could to make it as exact as possible. But more and more lately, oh my gosh, are you seeing this place? This is bonkers. But holy cow. So I just gotta take a moment. Wow. Okay. But more and more, I'm painting like what I feel, not necessarily what I see. Because like I can see with a photograph, this would all look dark. With my eyeballs, I can see there's like hidden greens and things in there. But like you feel the depth of these trees. There's like some blues and browns in there too. And I don't know if my eyes are picking that up, but my eyes run, like my brain is what is interpreting that. So what I love about watercolor is you don't just have to capture what is there. You can capture what's here, and then that feels more accurate too, especially in Alaska, because you don't capture this place with cameras. You can try, you will not. And sketching is hard too, but it's slightly closer to, I think, like this place seems you feel things, which is so hard to show sometimes. Okay, so we got this is that, which means that this is that. Okay, so I'm coming in a 10 now, so no pressure, but we're doing the hard stuff. Coming in with a pen, and I'm just gonna get some initial lines. I'm probably not gonna paint straight to the edge. Oh, also let's add some. Yeah, let's add some of this. I like it when these sketches have a bit of a border. So I'm going to start with a bit of a border in the sky. Okay, this is very cool. Yeah, so the avalanche side of things, in case you're on one of the other chats, 7 inches of snow in the last little bit there, and so they have a ton of work to do, which is something kind of cool, and actually something I got to appreciate about Alyeska. I did a fun like little video with one of their avalanche dogs, and the crew there was talking about how Alyeska has so many layers of people working to kind of put people in a safer path. Like Alyeska on its own is a pretty extreme place. Like there's a lot of like this mountain. There's a lot of snow that hits these mountains. They're coastal, but like they're high enough that they get the snow. So they really get dumped on. And then they're steep too, which is what you need for skiing. So that combination makes for great skiing. It also makes for some real avalanche conditions. And there's like a whole just army, talking to armies, there's like a whole army of people there to basically keep skiers safe. And the skiers don't, and snowboarders. Actually, this weekend there's like a snowboard only event, which is kind of fun. A lot of times in like some of the spots out east, it's like no snowboards, and they're having a snowboard only event this weekend. But what's really interesting is like the amount of work it takes to make this place safe. I mean, they literally have artillery up there right now, and they're firing artillery rounds at this mountain to like mitigate some of that. The avalanche dogs go through intensive training, all of the ski patrol, like there's so many layers and layers and layers of safety up there. And then if you come here, you just like, oh, it's a fun ski day, had a good time, got a hot dog at the top, and but we don't even realize like how much work it takes to kind of keep people safe, and allow for hundreds and thousands of people to ski on the same mountain at the same time safely. If you put all those people in the backcountry, the avalanche risk would be massive. But then also you wouldn't be able to ski as much either, which is kind of cool to see all the behind the scenes on that. That being said, these other mountains are gorgeous. I feel like they don't get nearly enough love, so we're going to do some of that right now with some trees and just a little couple lines here. This is one of my favorite parts of the year, is when these mountains are fully in winter and everything else is kind of starting to move a little bit towards spring. That's kind of what we're seeing. Okay. I'm going to try to get my proportions right here. Probably won't, but that's okay. And we have these little gendarmes, or whatever they're called. Some great mountain terminology out there, but I don't know most of it. And I'm not going to put too much pen in here, because there is a lot of change happening in the weather, and I want to be able to capture some of that. So we're going to see, if possible, and pen kind of locks you in. Like if you put pen in, you're like, that is what it is. It's like doing a crossword in pen. So we're going to try to leave a little bit of some fuzziness out there if we want. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Now, if anybody's in Girdwood and watching and wants to trade a sticky bun for a paint kit, I'm here and I'm willing. Apparently they're back open. This is great. It's called the Bake Shop. It's they make such yummy stuff, and they have the sticky buns that are part bread, part sticky bun. They are so good. And they weren't open for a little while because, life, and got to give people breaks and all that stuff. But they are back in business, and I have a sweet tooth for what they're putting out. Okay, a little bit of this here. All right. We're just adding just 2 meadows here, so we're going to try to get a little bit of both of them in there. My friend Deb is the one who confirmed this. Bane has been amazing. Thank you. Alyeska social media extraordinaire. And he's like, Moose Meadow's great. And I was like, okay. And I got a second opinion from my friend Deb, who is one of those people that kind of just makes things run. So I don't even know what her role is within Girdwood, but I feel like she has her fingers in everything. But she was like, yeah, this is a great spot. And so we are sketching. But the problem is she grooms a lot of these trails, personally often. So pressure's on, because, if I miss a meadow, now there's somebody who would know that extremely well. Oh, here comes the helicopter. Airport right there. So if we see some traffic, which we might, we'll have to wave. Hold on to our umbrellas tightly. Okay, so I'm just kind of working my way slowly across, getting some of these trees in. And you can kind of see, it's coming along, but piece by piece. And you'll see, a lot of times my mountains will be in one spot, and then I'll kind of shift pretty extremely. Oh yeah, there we go. Helicopter right over there. Not sure whose outfit that is. There's Alpine Air. There's Chugach Powder Guides. Oh, okay. Well, they're landing. That was a real long flight. There's lots of different helicopter operations here in Alaska, because the skiing is so good, and these mountains and the access that they have. But they'll fly all over the place. It's pretty cool stuff. You don't need a helicopter for everything, but boy, are they cool. Fun fact about helicopter: it's not helicopter, it's helicopetter, which it's etymology. So helico is circle, and petter is wing, pterodactyl, how you spell it. So pterodactyls are winged dinosaurs or something like that, and helicopetter is circle wing, Helios I think is the sun because it circles or something like that. But anyway, I always thought it was a helicopter, copters and a thing. But no, helicopetter. There's your fun fact for the day. As if I could only give you one. My brain is one of those ones where it's useful information, like anniversaries and directions and just basic information does not stick. But weird stuff about helicopter facts, absolutely. That's That's always got a place. And I feel like it probably pushes out a lot of the things like the anniversaries and directions and basic information that I should know. All right, so here we go. So we're clicking along here. It's looking pretty good, pretty accurate, I think. And the nice thing is if there's any part that I don't want to draw, we just make it in the clouds. And we're probably going to be right. So we got a little bit of this here. We got some of these kind of coming up there. And I'm kind of just getting the general shape of everything here. I'm not worrying. Like I said, with color, I'm going for how it feels, not always how it looks. And it's the same deal. Like I'm not making a map. This is not gonna, this right here is not for somebody to be able to retrace their steps back if they're lost in the woods. I'm going for the feel of something. So it's important to kind of remember that occasionally too. Otherwise you can get lost in trying to make things a little too fancy perhaps. Right there. This is going to go up here. This coming down there. Here's one of these trees. All right. Oh, morning. Nice day for it, huh? It's definitely like a hike in the morning kind of a trail. Yeah. Okay. Dog count today. Looks like one of our main ones here. Cute little small white dog, but I could use more. I think like an enthusiastic lab would be great, but not one that drinks my paint water. We got to keep them safe and out of that. Just putting it out in the universe. Maybe a husky. I'd do a husky. Husky want to come and say hi. Part of the beauty of painting is that, That was a big one. That was like firework level. I assume you heard this. I assume you're hearing all of this. Whoa. Wow. What am I doing painting down here? I should have been like, hey, can I get a front seat to that stuff? Probably don't let people anywhere near it, but also, oh my gosh, that sounds some wild stuff. I think they drop helicopter loaded ammunitions or whatever they're called. Like there's like charges they can drop from helicopters too. So they'll drop these pretty sizable charges from mortars and shoot them up there. But then I think sometimes they'll take helicopters with little like comic bombs, just drop them as well. They do it in places where, they pick up the ordinances and people aren't going to grab them and harm themselves later on. But it's still kind of wild. Like that is what it takes to safely run a ski operation sometimes. Okay, a little bit of this here. All right, there we go. So that is looking swell. I got some of this, and I'm just going to keep on chugging along here because we do have the rest of this. I did choose a particularly big one, and I do have to be done by 2:00 because I'm teaching a class of the Wounded Warriors program. So I have basically 2 hours to finish this entire thing, which is going to be pretty intense. The nice thing is I get to drop my umbrella here in just a minute, maybe, because once we have this and the colored pencil on, like watercolor is fine. It can get wet. If it flows, it flows. It's just kind of the mountains adding some flavor to the painting. But for this pen stuff, you can kind of see a lot of it could get in the way. Oh, I hear a dog. Which kind are we going to get? What's interesting, dogs, very enthusiastic. Dogs I love because like they come up and they're just hyped. They're just like, you're here, I'm here, you're doing some stuff with the water, cool. People are interesting because people are always like, for some reason, not offended, but just kind of like, people react very differently sometimes with watercolor. It depends. Like sometimes they're very like self-deprecating out of nowhere. Oh, there's a sweet dog. Yes, okay, we did ask you earlier. That's right. I was trying to remember. Okay. And how's the loop going? Slowly. I'm going for, we're going to add a bunch of it. This is just the initial, and then we'll put a pencil, and then we'll fill it into some watercolor. So we're just kind of... we're trying. This part always takes the longest for me. Is just like that sort of measure twice, cut once of the sketch outline. But yeah, it's fun stuff. Are you a painter? Are you a painter?
I have paints that I use.
That counts.
I don't think I call myself a painter in front of someone like you.
Oh, that's always what I think. And then it's like there's so many good painters in Alaska, but I kind of love it because with watercolor, you cannot you could have 100 people watercolor the same scene and there'd be 100 different.
I like it because it kind of frees you from perfection.
Right? Yeah. The more controlling you get, the worse it's gonna be. So you kind of have to become free in order to do well.
Acrylics, and then I went to watercolor and I'm like, ah!
Right? Oh my god.
And then I ended up liking it. I'm like, you can
Yeah.
a little gentler.
Yeah, no, I've used like all the mediums and it's definitely the one that keeps me coming back. I think because you can't figure it out.
Well, you're never gonna pick the same thing twice.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So we have a little bit of, let's see, this tree here. We're just adding the rest right up to the top. And then, let's see. And then the fun begins. Then we start getting colorful. That's what I love the most. And then here's our little skiers. Let's see, actually this is great. So I'll be able to kind of see exactly where the ski trail is. So they're actually here. I think I had this one wrong. So I'm going to put them in the correct spot. Is that right? Actually, no. Yeah, so they are there. Okay, I had it right. So let's add some little skiers right here. There we go. How big are they comparatively? Okay, so they're about this big. And here we go. So little skiers. Doing this straight in pen. Probably should have been a bit more judicious. Okay, and then we're just going to pull the ski trail around and over. With watercolor, there's like only a few lines that matter. It's kind of like, these initial ones, you can actually be very, very fluid and kind of all over the place, but there are like a couple of lines that actually really kind of count, and people tend to be one of them. You really you gotta kind of make sure you get them right. Okay, there we go. Yeah, put the ski trail's right back there. Okay, there we go. Little person for some scale. And let's finish this up. Just clicking along. Okay. Let's check some comments. Just see how people are doing. Usually what I would do is in the wild, I'd be like listening to bad music. That tends to be my kind of go-to to actually get me going. Like bad music that makes you want to dance is great for painting. Okay. Seems like everybody's happy in the chat. Kind of quiet, but that's okay. No pressure. Ooh, great choice. Okay. And now this just comes along here. And we're just gonna quickly round this all the way out. What am I looking at here? So there's that big tree. Sometimes you kind of get lost and have to kind of like find yourself back in your painting. It's like, oh yeah, where was this one? Trees are really great for that. Okay, now this goes up and up and up. And then kind of over and up and up and up. And then all the way out. So I'll put the rest in later. So we're close. Let's see, that is here. Oh, there's the tram. Oh, cool, you can see the tram from here. No kidding. Okay, so this, fun. Okay, so well, here we go. Cool, so we're gonna get a little bit of everything in here. So here is the tram. Gonna add that in right here. Shoot, what does it look like? That's what it looks like. Okay. Oh, it's very tiny. So it's got a little tram shape. And it's got kind of this little thing. Goes like this. And it's the general shape of a tram. All right, great, cool. Oh, fun. We got the tram in there. Great. So, what a convenient composition. These, some more of those little trees right here, and they're just rocking around. And then you got these trees kind of coming up. All right, it's almost done talking to the paper stage, and time to paint on the paper stage. All right, there's that, and here's this last little mountain, which is in the sunshine, so we should get that right. Okay. Boy, this is... It's like the fireworks in the daytime. It's like surprise fireworks in the daytime, you know? What a time to be here, though, for this. It's kind of exciting. Talk about PTSD, though. If you've ever been in a place where, you know, there's actual artillery going, probably not the best. Probably not the best thing, or at least it should give you a bit of a warning. But this is what keeps people safe in Alaska. So if you want to go skiing, this is kind of just part of the game, I believe. Okay. All right. So I think we are in pretty good shape. Let's go add a little bit of some texture with some pen. What I'm doing right here is just kind of adding. I'll show you here. So I'm kind of just adding in a little bit of that texture. Just it does some of the work that the watercolor would normally. So it's a good way to kind of get a little extra bit if you need it. So just kind of a bit of texture, bit of some shading. And then we're going to move straight into the pencil. And I'm loving adding some colored pencil lately just because it creates this really fun texture underneath. They're wax pencils, which is, or just I think the wax based, which is just a standard, like they're With, which is a really fun brand. But it means that they will sort of repel watercolor a little bit. They're not watercolor pencils. So they do create some really kind of fun little bits of texture below. And I'm getting really excited. Yeah, so when I'm sketching the pen, I am, at this point, kind of drawing some of the outlines, just almost making a coloring book for myself to use. So that's, in some ways, that's almost how I think of it. But then, like, for instance, I'm looking at this right here, this section right here is really dark. I'll kind of like add in a bunch of cross hatching, and that's almost as a reminder a bit later on of like, that is that one really dark section. When I add watercolor over that, it'll kind of almost vanish. Like a lot of that will actually kind of disappear with the watercolor, but it does create like a nice little layer of something, and it just kind of helps me see and remember what is where as the it's kind of this dance between you and what you're, looking at and what you're sketching. Pretty kind of funny sound. That was a crow. Okay, so we got a little bit of this. These are great questions, by the way. Oh, I'm feeling more of this rain. That's all right. We're almost done with the part that requires no rain. All right, so got a little bit more of this. Come in here. A couple of these. In the really cold temperatures, these pens are extra exciting because they kind of bleed a lot because they don't dry because they're so cold. Like the pen itself freezes. So in the really cold temperatures, I'll often use a lot of pencil because pencils are good. Like they use pencils in space. Pencils work really, really, really well for a lot of things. So that tends to be kind of a nice way to do it. And with that, I think we're on to pencil time. Should I do some of these mountains? Let's do a little of these mountains. Let's do a touch of some of where I'm seeing a few of these interesting bits of texture, especially the rock and this I'm not going to do too much because I do want to leave some of those in case I want to do some like mistiness if that's what happens when I end up painting. Okay, there we go. All right, lovely. And got a little bit down here too. And I have like this right here is just like where I was just wrong on one of the mountains. That's okay. I think it's kind of fun to leave the mistakes in because you sort of see where you were going. And the more I sketch, the more into the sketchiness I'm getting. I'm not like faking it, like I'm not adding intentional wrong lines or changing mistakes, but I'm liking more and more just like how it's a process, it's a journey, and I think it's kind of fun to be able to show that. Okay. All right, there we go. Pen, done. Onto the pencil. So this right here, these are called width. They're like a little, I don't know, they're like, that's a whole set of pencils. And then you can put them in little mechanical pencil things. I have kind of a cool and a warm is what I usually do. So here's my brown, and here's my blue. I'll probably use maybe only 2 colors today, 2 or 3 colors. So I'll start with, let's see, is this blue? Let's find out. Yep. I'll start with just some cools, and I'm just going to kind of run through and just kind of add a little bit of some shading because I might let it kind of fade out too. But also, like I said, it's fun. It adds a little bit of texture. It helps you see where you're going. And if I'm totally honest, a lot of times this is all I have time for in the backcountry is just like a quick line and pencil sketch. I don't often get the luxury of really being able to spend some serious time. So I'm kind of just going through the full process. And then, if you have time to make a sketch, also great. If you don't have time, then it's like, all right, whatever. Still kind of set you up for success. Okay. Running through this, see, kind of painting in, or sketching in this case, a lot of where the shadows are. Just these little blue shadows that seem to be kind of everywhere. And what I'm doing is called hatching. It's just kind of like where you're just creating these little lines that sort of hatch your way across. I'm not like filling it all the way in. Okay. I'm just going to start on one side and work my way to the other. How's our exposure? Things keep on getting light and then bright and then dark again. There we are. Now the real dream, they make these like super cool tents in Alaska. Is like either to find a cabin or one of these tents and just post up, stay nice and warm, sit for days and sketch. But there is something good too about like having a limited amount of time. Like that is actually something I'm appreciating more and more and more and more is not having enough time kind of forces you to be very honest, very real. And some of my favorite sketches, like my favorite sketches ever have been when I have not had very much time and I've really had to kind of rush it. And in this case, we're going to have one of those because the Wounded Warriors program is on a schedule. So we have now, tell me to stand up. We have now, yeah, well, we're moving, but it's going to be tight. Okay, a little bit going on in here. Next page, gosh, these accordion journals are just fun like that, where it's like, all right, switch it up. This is a pretty huge painting too to try to be tackling this time. I do not advise this. I think you should, if you can, go smaller. I have to work with trail tiles, which are about like, that big. So, yeah, when in doubt, go small, go really small, because the amount of time that it takes to actually like go kind of fully into something like this is really pretty extreme. All right, some of these. little bit here, a little bit there. This I might erase. I think I have an eraser here. The people, like I said, with a little bit of details, the people are the one where it's like, okay, I'll clean that up if I have to. Can I get an eraser with gloves out though? That's a real question. There we go. Okay. I've got a little erase on this section right here. There we go. No. No, everyone will know. You'll know. Oh my gosh, here's the sun. Oh, it's magnificent. Now what am I doing not sketching this? Oh boy. Oh. You'll see something beautiful? Here, look at this. Not me, sorry. But look at that. Oh. Gorgeous, huh? Here's what we're doing. We're getting there. We are getting there. Whoa! Let's see. How's that? Right there, and steady, and good. Okay. So, so my hope is to do a lot more of this in the summer too. I love painting in the winter. It's just a cool thing. Because of those struggles, you know, it gives you appreciation. But there's also something really nice about the idea of just like sketching when it's convenient and warm. There's a lot of daylight and sun, and your fingers don't freeze. Which might just be like an argument for not sketching in Alaska. That's actually, come to think of it, that might be what I'm really asking for. But I love painting in Alaska just because it's so gorgeous. I mean, like this, you don't find places like this all over the world. And I know I've sketched all over the world, and it just, you could sketch every day. And then the coolest thing is you could sketch every day and then come back to the same place and just keep on sketching because the weather is going to change it. Nowhere, maybe Scotland, but like nowhere have I really found a place that changes so much with the weather, especially Girdwood. Girdwood weather is famously unpredictable. And they get a lot of rain, but they make it worth it. They are a rainforest here. But it's so cool just like how oh my gosh. It's so cool how like when the clouds do kind of part and stuff does come through, like it is spectacular. I would take a 90% cloudy day with 10% sun in Girdwood over somewhere that's like 100% sunny like Arizona. It's just, it's like it makes the sun just like that much more special, you know, when it does happen. All right, so here is this. Next, we're going to hit some browns, and then I'm probably going to put a little bit of green in here. Not too much, but like just enough to be something. And then I think I might start kind of from the middle and work my way out for the actual painting. All right, here we are. If you want to see, here's what we're looking at here. A little bit of everything. Now we're gonna kind of pause, go brown, and then work our way straight back. All right, now the brown I'm adding, because there are some warm tones in here, and I kind of want to pull those out. So for instance, these trees, they do have brown in them. Also, I feel like it's raining and sunny at the same time. Speaking of Girdwood weather, it's very confusing. Alaska can be really easy to kind of only go with cool colors in the winter, because there's a lot of cool colors, don't get me wrong, but what happens, and when I talk about painting how you feel, not just how you see, what happens is you end up, anything that is warm or bright, you just gravitate toward. Like it is no coincidence that a lot of these Nordic cultures are obsessed with, you know, bright red colors and have red clothing and, you know, nice yellows and like all these colors. These pops of color are like a berry in the snow, and it is just so wonderful that your eye just kind of soaks it up and immediately sees it. And so that's a lot of times I think I use a lot of these really bright colors because your eye just sort of picks them up and picks them out, because you're craving them. Probably it's like having scurvy of color. You're just like, You need that vitamin C, or in this case, you need that red or something. But yeah, I really, really, really like using a lot of colors, especially the winter sketches. And brown is technically a warm color, so I can add a little bit of that in here. Okay, now over here on this side, we are now hitting this mountain, which does have these little patches of snow, but they are, I can start to see the rocks through them, so we're going to put some of those in there. Okay, what am I looking at here? There's that one right here. This is the big painting. I might have made a bit of a mistake on this one. We're going to find out. I think I'm going to be pushing it right kind of up to the close here with this. Ooh, boy. I might have to play the bad music at some point. Do you have music that makes you, like, what's, just out of curiosity, talking to the, loosely everybody here, but, like, is it just me, or is there, like, are there certain songs that just, like, make you want to dance? And are they songs that you would be excited to play for relatives? Or is it like, is it kind of confusing? Like for me, it's like bad rap or trap music. It just makes me want to dance. It makes me want to like get up and do risky things, which I think normally is like you listen to this music before like going to a dance and like, you know, working up the bravery to ask somebody out. Or at least that's what high school is for me. But like in this case, it works great now because it's like that bad music kind of gets me like hyped to make some watercolor mistakes. And you know, and then you're willing to kind of be like, okay, well, let's see what happens and be risky. Okay, a little bit there. I wonder if that's why some people like drink a lot while they do art and things, as it like it reduces the inhibition. It's not about being creative. It's about people trying to take that part of themselves that worries about fear or something like that. Which is a shame, because I think there's a lot of ways that you can capture stuff without having to resort to substance necessarily. But talk about addiction. Oh my gosh, like drugs now are probably cheaper than watercolor sometimes, but at least you end up like, at least it's positive, you know. But boy, when you go to the art store or something, you're like, oof, that's an expensive sheet of paper. But then you turn it into something beautiful. You can take paper and you can make gold out of it. It's like alchemy. Pretty incredible stuff. Okay, so here's these. Here's that glacier. Let's see, we got some of these kind of rolling up. So if you can only pull one of these off, like even this is pretty fine. Like, you know, if this is all that you have time for, is just to make a little sketch or something like this. It's totally, like, I think this is totally worth it. If you have time to like pull one of these off, that's amazing. And then you can always watercolor this stuff in later too. It's kind of nice. But it's great because if you can only make a little pencil outline, you can. And then if you have time to add a little pen, you can. And then if you have time to add a little watercolor pencil or just pencil, you can. And then at some point, then it gets really fun because then you can just add watercolor itself. And that's when stuff gets really, really cool. That clang was not artillery. That was a dump truck. I heard that one. Okay. All right, there we go. And now I'm just going to switch it up. We're going to put a little bit of green pencil into this mix. And then we're going to watercolor the bejesus out of it. Let's see. I'm just going to... Technically it is sun right now, and it's still raining, but that's all right. There's sun. Let me see if I can find out what color... Let's see if I'm finding what color we're using here. This is the great thing about having like a whole set of colored pencils with you. You can kind of just pick. Yeah, it's this one. You get some choice. And then I should probably stand up. You kind of got to psych yourself up for the watercolor portion, I think. It's scary. That's what I'll be teaching this class here in just a moment. Is kind of just like the power of watercolor and sort of what it did for me. So, in so many ways, watercolor was this like thing that really changed my life. Like as a dyslexic, reading and writing are pretty tough. And not just reading and writing, like I often say like reading and writing were tough. School that was based on reading and writing became really tough. Like that's the thing that I don't think I always connect. Like, yeah, sure, not being able to read and write is hard, but like when you are in school and everybody's like, it's just this giant comparison game and everybody's working and trying to do these things and it's like you're still learning and all of this stuff. Not being able to read or write some of this was just devastating. Like really, really, really tough. In your own self-image of like, well, I guess I'm dumb. Like it was pretty brutal. And I'm super lucky that I got diagnosed pretty early, which is why I try to talk about it all the time. Is like, one parent or one kid or one aunt or uncle or somebody is like, oh wait, maybe you're dyslexic. Like that could make such a difference in somebody's life, because it did in mine. But I got diagnosed with dyslexia, and it was huge because it like gave me the tools to be able to be like, that's okay, that's not me. But when it came to actually reading and writing and stuff like that, is a watercolor that like helped me find my voice, and the painting and the sketching. And that's what's been so cool, is to see that and then to be able to teach that. So with this class, with the Wounded Warriors program, I'm kind of, these are people that are in and have been in some tough situations and are trying to, either come out of them or work their way through it. And watercolor, I think, is awesome because it's like an avenue for this toughness, or art in general. Like music is a great example. You can't, I mean, maybe you could, but real soulful stuff comes from a place of experience and music. If you've been through some, like you can tell when an artist has been through some stuff, but then the music they make is amazing because of that. And so if you're going to be going through some stuff, whether you're a soldier or just like a dad or a mom or or somebody who's experienced something in your life, I mean, it's like, why not make art with that? It's like a byproduct of just like what we go through. And then you can just add these layers and turn it into something beautiful. It's like getting a big pile of manure dumped in your yard, where it's like, well, maybe you wanted that, maybe you didn't, but regardless, it's there. And you could let it sit there and stink stuff up, or you could put it in your garden and make something out of it. And for me, that's kind of what watercolor is it's allowed me to be able to turn something like not being able to read or write very well into being able to share like my experience in a way, because this is what I would do instead of reading and writing. All right, so here's what we got going so far. We have nice big long sketch, but I don't think I'm planning on sketching all of that in. I think I'm just going to sketch kind of parts and pieces. So let's give this a go. I'm going to put this upright just so that it doesn't get too much rain in case there's a certain squall. Girdwood works. And I'm just going to place this right here, jump around just a little bit, and then let's just pretty effectively trap myself in. Okay, let's go and stretch the legs and then let the painting begin. Okay, there we go. Shake it out. Maybe make a little bit of tea. How's everybody doing, by the way? Whoa. Let me knock you over. Oh, we might have gotten raided. Hey, everybody. Sorry if we got raided. What a time. Hi, Carson Druitt. Thank you for the raid. Let me oh, yeah. Here's what we have so far. So this is, but then, oh yeah, go for it. Yeah. So then, now the watercolor begins. So this is the start. But we'll see. I definitely made this way too big. So I'm having a lot of regret right now because I don't know what I'll be able to pull off in 2 hours, but we're gonna give it a go. We'll see.
Trying to get you and the mountains in it. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Okay. I am in the thick of it here. So this is, just to give you a sense here, so this is, we're going to be painting in as much of this as we can, and this is what we're painting. This whole spot right here. So I'm in Girdwood, Alaska. This is a big mountain called Alyeska, which a lot of people ski on, but like all these other mountains are gorgeous. So I have a big painting class with the Wounded Warriors program in like an hour and a half-ish. So I figured I'd just plunk myself down in this meadow, give it a go, and we'll see what happens. Because I mean, look at this stuff. Isn't that wild? But definitely, if you get a chance, let me know what you're all up to. If there's any questions I can have, I'm kind of in the thick of it right now because the pressure's on. So I might just dive in and just see what I can sketch. This is like the procrastination phase too, because it's like, I mean, that's a lot. It's gonna be fine, but like until you put that first brush stroke on, it's always kind of like, ugh. So, okay. I told myself I was just gonna get up and stretch just for a little bit. So here we go. Just got a couple little awkward outdoor painting stretches. Nothing like quite knocks you down like sitting on a chair. Okay, that's plenty. Let's do it. So here's what's going to get really exciting. In order to paint in these conditions, which are like above freezing, but barely. Oh no. So I feel like such an old man. But like, yeah, sitting is brutal. Especially, well, when you're like a little camp chair out here. And just pull this right up right here. You just use vodka or gin instead of water. At some level, just to be able to capture any of this. So there we go. All right. How's that looking? Yeah. Oh, that's doing just fine. Okay, so we'll do it right there. Okay, so here we go. So let's jump into it. So here is a little bit of this. Let me just start a comment. This is not the most effective setup in the world. But hey, what are you going to do? We're painting outside. It's good. Life is great. All right, so we have a little bit of one of these. Just get this down. These are like little squishy, whatever you call them, but like little squishy things that, little foldable cups, but you can kind of squish them down so they're a little bit flatter in the base. That's my main trick. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of snow in the base because whoa, no you don't. This is hot water. And I don't want to melt it. And let's see, here we are, right there. So we're just going to put a little bit of that in here. There we go, a little bit of hot water. And then let's put some gin. I don't want too much gin. I like, when it's really cold, you need to use full gin, like say -10 and below Fahrenheit. You're kind of using full gin to keep stuff from painting. At this point, just a splash will do. Don't really need too much. You also want to splash in your water. There we go. Okay. Whew. That's the stuff. I swear it's not moonshine. All right. Okay. Yeah, and the collapsible silicone one's great. They are just like so convenient. I'm gonna take a quick look. These are some colors are so cool. Oh. All right. Let's begin. Okay. Art supplies. I'm going to kind of clear the table just a little bit. If you're not being used, you can not take up space. How do we want to arrange this? I think I'm going to start kind of chronologically, and we're just gonna clip our way through. Okay, ready? And here we go. So we are going to have, let's see, how well can we see all of this? Got my little collapsible brushes here. These are great. I only really use two sizes. I used to use kind of a really, whole set and series and all that stuff, but lately I've been really just, it doesn't take much. You just kind of need two, big one and a small one. Okay, you ready for this? I think it's time. Let's begin. Got my umbrella here in case I need to cover. We're gonna be fine on that, and let's do this. All right. How do things look? If you want to see up close, I can also zoom this in just a little bit here, just so you can kind of get a real good view. But they'll kind of be going all over the place. So there we are. Okay. So with this sketch, I'm gonna start on the middle. Here, my stuff already. I'm gonna start in the middle, and I think I'm gonna kind of just run with it. Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. I know. It's tough. It's like, it's such a easy thing to kind of get overwhelmed by. But here we go. We're doing it now. And what I might do is I might just clip this onto my table really quick, just so that it stays put, because things are going to get a little bit frisky. All right. Okay, so the sky is kind of gray. What am I sketching first? I think I'm going to sketch the light stuff-ish. So I'm going to kind of start to add some of these layers of lightness. There is bright white, but like Girdwood is a study in muted colors. That is what makes Girdwood so interesting. It's just all these little colors that are kind of muted and kind of bouncing around. So I'm going to add a lot of those in, and it's what you don't paint in that will make stuff so bright. So it is kind of getting a little bit, but not too much. It's very confusing. It makes sense sometimes once you actually get it going, but we're going to kind of look for whatever is the second brightest thing, and that's what I'm going to be painting in right now. There we go. So a little bit of this. We have some big glaciers kind of way up there, which I can see. And so, yeah, so I'll just scoot this over so you can actually kind of see what I'm painting a little bit too. How's that? There we are. So I'm going to be adding in as much of this as I can. And just, stick around, because it does really come together fast, but also so slow. It's like one of those great little paradoxes where, it happens all at once. I'm a dad of two right now, and people always talk about like, oh yeah, it goes so fast, but it doesn't. It really does. Life slows down so much, but it goes fast. It's like life extends, but it goes fast. Like I have a 3-year-old, but I often feel like I've had him for a decade, but it's been a really fast decade, which has been great. All right, so we're just going to be adding a bunch of these colors, these light colors. And by putting in these kind of light shades right now, it lets us put in some darker stuff a little bit later on and still have that complexity. As I knock it all over the place. So we're going to add just little bits here. Sometimes going all the way, but I think I'm going to leave a lot of this kind of blank, at least on the edges, because I just love it. I just love that look where it's like a little bit on the edge, a little bit not on the edge. I'm also probably going to do a bunch of flicking of stuff. Like now, if you want to kind of add some of this. This is the time to kind of flick in some texture, because, well, one, you can immediately get rid of it if you need, but also, you kind of know what's worth keeping. It's the time to be messy, that's for sure. All right, so a little bit of this. We got some of those up there. This is all pretty cool stuff. We'll leave that pretty much alone. And then our sky is kind of confusing because it is blue, but it's also super cloudy, and it's like classic Girdwood. Just everything at once, everywhere. But we'll get to that. Some serious regret that I did not pick up a sticky bun from town. Now is when I really need it. Get that blood sugar up. Be willing to make some watercolor mistakes, but it's gonna be okay. bit here, and then it's always kind of interesting to see how stuff dries. That's the other big exciting part in these kind of conditions, is you never really know if things will dry or not dry, or some of the humidity. So we're gonna try to see how much of this we can kind of do. But with this big accordion notebooks, it's kind of a matter of just sort of just hoping. Let's see. There we go. We'll just hope that not too much of that sort of drips. Okay, a little bit here, which going right over the edges. I kind of think of watercolors almost as like three layers. It's almost like Goldilocks in the Three Bears, right? You've got your light, your medium, and your dark. So right now I'm kind of adding in the light layer, and then I'll add the medium, and then the dark is where it kind of comes to life. The dark layer is that last layer. It's usually 3, maybe 4 like brush strokes, and it's like it brings a whole painting together, which is a shame that you can't have that first, you know? Like, how convenient would that be, just to be able to know if it was going to turn out terribly or not within like 4 brush strokes? You could save yourself a lot of time and angst and paper. But no, that is not how it works. And you do have to do the entire painting before you get to those kind of 4 brave strokes and just hope it works. Okay, we have some interesting light going on here, so I'm going to kind of like let this show itself off. We've got some cloud. And my color palette, some people ask, it's often a little bit of everything. Right now I've got indigo, a dark blue of something. Maybe it's a Prussian blue. I should look into it. Indigo, a dark blue, purple of some kind, a cerulean blue, which is that nice light blue, and a sap green, a burnt sienna, a moon glow, which is kind of like indigo, and a red, and 2 yellows. The reason I had 2 yellows is because I was lazy and just like couldn't figure out how to like pull one of them up, so I just left 2. But now some people are telling me that they had 2 yellows. One is for mixing, one is just for pure yellow, which is brilliant. Because the yellow is always, I think, it's like the dirtiest. I think it's just like such a clever idea. Okay, so here we go. We've got a little bit of this kind of cloud seeping through. And I'm just going to let that kind of move down and around. Like I said, trying to be brave. And also, just know, like, when it comes to this stuff, it dries lighter. So it's okay to be a little bit on the bold side, if you want or need to be. There we are. Lovely. Flexible gin, yes. The gin goes in the paint water. Yeah. Gin goes in the paint water. It also goes in me occasionally. You can use isopropyl alcohol. You cannot drink isopropyl alcohol. So why? Maybe it's cheaper, but there's some pretty cheap gin out there. Not that I would know. Okay, a little bit here. And then this guy we're going to hit up just a little bit later. We're going to kind of try to do a lot of that all at once. Maybe we should do it right now. Should we try this guy? Let's do it. Let's do this guy. What are we looking at for this guy? So this guy, there was some blue sky, but let's see, so that's up there. We're going to just try a little bit of blue. Whoops, too much blue. And we're being loosey-goosey here. There we are. Trying to get some of that weird mix of shadows, and the sky is brighter than the mountains, but the mountains are lighter than the sky and the snow and all this wildness. So we're just gonna quickly scoot a little bit over. There we go. And just gonna see where it goes. There's that mountain. Oops. There's that mountain right there, which means that this is a touch of almost blue sky. Put a little bit of that in here. There we are. Now, I'm definitely saying this partially for the benefit of the live. I also just absolutely talk to myself in the mountains while painting, I always feel like I need to kind of coach myself through it. And occasionally I won't hear somebody coming up and it's just me and a paintbrush, and I'm just like, okay, all right, great. So that little tree is going to be down here by the side, and that other little one goes up here, and that must just seem absolutely crazy until they see the sketchbook, and then they know that I'm crazy. There we go. Also a bit of erase against time. We have some weather coming in. If you've been hearing the sound of the howitzers, that's because we have, like, I think Alyeska got 7 inches of snow or something like that, which means they saw the weather. And it's kind of cool because down here you can have entirely different weather than the top of the mountain, which I love. Like, Alyeska is such a cool spot because it's like you can kind of pick your climate based on your elevation. So right now we're down here in spring. They are fully in winter right now, so good luck to them. They're dealing with that in the ways that they know how. Okay. God. Oh yeah, if you get a chance, I mean, it's so fun to bring stuff outdoors. Hello again. Yeah, the color has begun. The gin has been added to keep it from freezing, and now we'll just layer after layer after layer until it comes to life.
What do you put to keep it from freezing?
Gin. Yeah. So like a gin or isopropyl alcohol lowers the freezing point of your. Who's this, by the way?
A cocaine bear.
Cocaine bear. Oh, great title. Gin lowers the freezing point, so you can kind of paint and it'll sublimate instead of freezing. Which,
cool.
yeah.
Gorgeous already.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see. The first half of the painting.
You want the photo sent to you that you hold it in front of the mountains?
Oh, that's super kind of you. If you get a chance, are you on Instagram? No. Great. Good for you. We have a website, Trailbound Sketches, that has it on there. Do I have? Trailbound, Trail Dog Sketches. I have a little card, I think, here. Let me see. We're live streaming this, otherwise I'd give you my number as I've learned. Apparently that is not the thing you're supposed to do, put those things online, but that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us check in.
Oh yeah, it's been fun. Just loop after loop. Okay, there we go. So I've got some interesting stuff, and you can see there's little raindrops that are kind of starting to hit a little bit on some of these edges, like right down here. So that is creating just some really interesting texture, which I like. This is also the beauty about painting outside, and I'm glad. They said that the dog's name is Cocaine Bear, which maybe that's a pet name. Probably not what they have on like the vet manifold when they call like, yes, Cocaine Bear is ready to be picked up. But that's so good. All right, we have a little bit of, let's see, a little bit more of this to add here. So, oops, you can already see some of the drips are kind of running wild. That's okay. So we're gonna slowly keep on moving because we have to. Otherwise things are gonna go awry, timing wise. I'm not sure. I need a bigger table. I feel like that scene in Jaws where it's like we're gonna need a bigger boat, but we're definitely gonna need a bigger table. Oh, but the raindrops are hitting. Oh, this is so cool. If this turns out, rain, a little bit of rain is great. Speaking of like, cocaine or tequila or something like that, it's kind of like one shot is great, but that doesn't mean that 6 will be excellent. Rain is the same way. A little bit of rain is super cool. A lot, not great. So much so that I think I'm going to switch up to, I think it's time. Let's pull the umbrella back up. And I think that the weather's about to turn on us in a big way, which will be exciting. Well, shoot, what do I do now? It was going so well. We haven't had sun. All right, I need to figure out what to paint next. I think that I'm going to add a little bit of some of these kind of secondary colors, so a little bit of the browns maybe. Maybe a couple of these sort of little streaks that are, you know, moving up the mountain. And we're just going to add a couple of those. Same over here. And then we're going to find out how the rest of this is going to go, which is going to be exciting. Okay, a little bit there. So, yeah, we've got some of these secondary streaks. Any memorable favorites? Oh yeah, I'm kind of curious. I feel like that's talking about interesting animal names. There's a lot of people in Alaska who name their like dog Bear. Like I've heard a lot of bears, you know, which is just, or Moose. Like I've met multiple dogs named Bear or Moose, and it's like that is such a bad name in Alaska, because if you're wandering through the woods like yelling Bear or Moose, I mean you look nuts. And also a lot of other people might yell Bear or Moose just because, you know, there are one, and you don't want a dog running over to them if they in fact saw a bear or moose. We have a lot of Auroras as dogs. What else is there? Yeah, this is an interesting one. Our cat's name is Charlemagne the Destroyer. He has a rather unique name. I haven't met any other Charlemagne the Destroyers yet. I'm sure there's some out there. Okay, a little bit of some of this going on. Oops, and I got it in the sky. Well, that is so not what I wanted. That's all right. We'll put a little bit there. Let's put a couple up here as well. These are, I'm just splattering in a little bit of some brown, just because there are these brown, like little spots of rock in the sun, and it's kind of easier sometimes, unless you kind of mess it up like that, kind of put them in this way. So we'll give that a little bit of a go. Living in Scotland, and I've considered how confusing it would be to call a dog Bear. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a move. Like, you know, we have them here, and that's cool, I suppose. But yeah, not a great call in my opinion, just from a safety perspective. Scotland, you could probably get away with it a little bit better. Although you wouldn't want to call your dog like Nessie or something, or maybe you would. Okay, we're just gonna add a little bit of this. Oh, I can feel it cooling down too. We got some crazy weather coming in behind. I think that might be what we're going to be experiencing here in a second. Actually, now that our rain is, let me see if I can bring up these. There we go. There you are. Bring that back up a little bit so you can kind of see that come into life. So we have all of these. A little bit of wind could be good for things drying out. And I think what I'm going to be forced to do here is to kind of go for it. Things are going to be wet and they're going to kind of move and slide, but I think I don't have enough time not to just risk it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for it. They've got some of these kind of colors over here, these trees, and we're just going to see what happens for a lot of it. Okay. A little bit there, a little bit here. Here we are. It's just layer after layer, and you're kind of working light to dark, because the dark stuff will always be able to kind of overpower the light stuff. So you can go over the edges with light stuff. That doesn't really matter at all. And then you come in with your darker colors. So I'm just going to add in a bunch of these, and we're just going to hope for the best, really. So if you have any hope and you want to send it my way, at least for this painting, that'd be so appreciated. Actually, no, I take it back. There's a lot of other people who need some hope in the world. If you can save it for them, that would be great. This painting will do well or not, and that's fine. But yeah, I think actually I take it back. There's some people out there who could probably use your wishes a bit more than I could. Okay, there we go. We're gonna add a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's a start. That's getting there. Okay, same over here. Do we go with this one? I think we might have to in just a second. Now let's try to add some of our kind of secondary shades in. We've got some indigo, I believe. Maybe I'll add a bit of blue to that. And let's put in a layer or two of that. So here that goes. Well, that's too dark. Here we try. So we have a little bit of indigo coming down. And this is what's going to start to kind of bring this mountain to life in a pretty cool way. All right. Here's some of this. A couple of these kind of pulling down. So that's the secondary layer that's going to make it kind of exciting here shortly. And because we kind of already had that like initial layer, this one kind of begins to make things exciting. Okay. Piece by piece. And then, of course, a little bit of water to kind of smooth stuff out. Always makes some magic. There we are. Okay, so we're moving. How are we doing on time here? Yeah, T-minus about an hour, so it's gonna come right down to the wire, I think. But you know, that's all right, maybe. So we'll just add a little bit here. These are still the darkest layers. They will go darker. So we will have some more of that here in just a moment. Where it does get quite dark. Okay, a little bit of just gotta get that right level. You want soft edges and you want hard edges, and you kind of the dream is you kind of have this perfect mix between both of them. There we go. Put some blue back in here while we have that still wet. Oh, I love how this is going. Okay, perfect. And then, I think we got to do the same over here. I'm going one after the other. If I had a bigger table, I think that's probably what I really need, is just a bigger table, to be honest. Because we're going to have to kind of repeat this process. But this is a great learning experience. And I'm having a good time. So that's also key. My wife always says, if you're having fun, it counts when it comes to painting. Because a lot of times I'd be like, oh, what if this doesn't work or this doesn't work? And she'd be like, are you having fun? Yeah. Great. Cool. That's all that matters. Stop fussing. What a treat it is to paint. Okay. How's this all looking? Can you kind of see this? Oh, yes, sorry. My hand out of the way. We're just trying to get this initial something up and running here. All right, now, same over here. We just got to add a little bit of these layers that are coming on. Feeling very Mary Poppins. Okay, and there we are. Now, if you like, I can switch over to view so you can see these mountains, but like they are stunning. Like I love Girdwood in sun. It's cool. I've seen it like once. It does get sunny days, in theory, but Girdwood in the mountains with the mist and all this stuff. It's so cool. It's so much cooler than like a nice sunny, boring day. I mean, I wouldn't mind sun right now. I'd definitely take some sun right now, but in lieu of it, this is great as well. Okay, so here's that. We're just gonna place this and see if we can get ourselves another page without things dripping. I think we're gonna be fine there. And let's move on to this. I don't know if you can see. This is my pretty. Do you like my epic umbrella? This is new. Okay, so now we're gonna move up this mountain right here, which is pretty cool looking. And we're gonna see about adding. We could add stuff to it. We could also just leave it blank. I'm tempted to leave it just kind of blank. Maybe I'll add a couple little layers. No, let's leave it blank. I'm going to leave one of these mountains just blank. Because why not? That's brown. That's blue. I'm just going to add a little bit more detail on it then. And we're just going to leave that blank. It'll save us some time and some paint. Because that's the real problem here. And we're just going to add a little bit of this here. I'll come in with some pencil in just a moment to kind of finish it off. But there we go. Okay, that gets to stay there. Cool. Glad I made that decision. that means we can start down here. Let's add a little bit of, we've got some green kind of coming up. And we're just going to pull that down. Let's see, can you see any of this? Barely. Don't mind me. Oh wait, I can just zoom this out here. Let me just push this in. There you go. Problem solved. And we're just going to kind of be filling this in. Whoa, too much paint. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Like I said, be bold. Whether you're on purpose or not. So just getting a little bit here. We're just gonna scoot this down there, and we're gonna hope it works out. Lovely. Oh yeah, that's great. Okay, a little bit of blue in there because I love how like the initial mountain tree hill is very dark, but then it kind of fades in. It feels like too. So we're just gonna lock that in now and let it dry because all of this stuff is gonna be way darker in just a second. Okay, there we are. Oh, I love it. Love it. Cool. Okay, that'll do. At it, let's add a little bit. Let's see, our ski tracks look like this. We'll just put, oh, that's not green. Ski tracks look like this. We're just got a little bit in the middle. In the thick of it now. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the comments too much. I feel like when this happens, I am just like kind of at the whim of the paint and the weather. Whew. Layers on layers. We are riding the wave here. This is always terrifying. I don't know if it's terrifying for you. I love painting, but it's always like a kind of stressful activity, but in like a nice way, where it's like, I feel, it's like one of those movies where you're kind of on the edge of your seat. Like that's how I feel with watercolor all the time, where it's, people always talk about it. It's like, nice and relaxing activity, and I just love because I can just sort of sit back and let go of the flow of the paint. For me, it's just like, blah! My mountain connected with my sky, and then my tree is bleeding into my bear, and what am I gonna do? And then I finish, and I love it. But in the process, adding in some of my trees right now, just because I will be coming back in with those a little bit later to kind of carve them out. The darkness of the background is what will kind of make them stand out. So I kind of need to put those in initially right now, which is what I'm doing. So kind of let them dry, even though this is very much not a climate to be drying things in. Okay, a little bit here, a little bit there. We'll toss a couple of these in as well. Little freebie trees. Why not? They come with the little hummock. There we are. Any others I need to kind of put in? I suppose those, but I'll give them a second. All right. Cool. So we got a bunch of those. Looks great. Let's add, it's kind of this chess game too, like what goes before what. Brown. There's a couple tree trunks in here that are just a little bit brown, so we'll give them some shades right now. A couple up here as well. So you got to put these in now so that later when they are dry, you have some space and time to be able to do more of that. All right. Now what's our next step here? This is kind of where stuff starts to get fun and a little bit nerve-wracking. This needs to go in, but I can't put this in until some more of this is dry, and I don't know what's dry anymore. It's all a little bit of a mystery. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put in my dark layers on this now, and then I'll move on to this one. Unless, okay. Gloves off. We might be okay. We'll risk it. Do we know, is the umbrella to protect the artist or the painter? The umbrella is to protect paint. I'm fine. I've got a hat on, but I don't want unwanted raindrops. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll like pull it off if I need just like a couple interesting ones. Like over here, it'd be kind of fun to some raindrops. But right now I have an umbrella. I would love a tent. That is hopefully something in my future, but until that happens, we're kind of going Mary Poppins style is what we're going to be doing. So that's just kind of where we're at with that. Okay, so here is, we're just going to add some of these darker layers, I think, is what we're going to do. Is we're going to add a couple right here. And we're just going to kind of fill in these right now while we're waiting for some of those bigger ones to kind of knock in. Oh, that's a very dark. That might be too dark. I might be regretting this. We'll find out. Okay, there we go. We're going to lock a little bit of these over. And we're just kind of filling those in piece by piece. There we are. Okay. That is looking splendid, I think. These glaciers are interesting because everything is covered in snow, but you can tell where the glaciers are because there's no rocks there. That is the defining feature, is the lack of rocks. So just a big pile of ice, just kind of holding all of that at bay. So adding a couple of those in is going to be key. And then we got some over here as well. There we are. I like this. I like this a lot. Okay, and I don't want to do too much. I kind of want to, like, it's like hair or something like that. You want to put in the hint of it, but you don't want to paint in every single strand. So we're doing just enough to kind of get it there, but not too much more. And out, kind of splatter it out. That'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Of all these, just layer after layer. Couple of these down, and even though they do look all pretty dark, there are little bits of color within there as well. So we're going to put a few of those in. Maybe even some purple. I do see purple in these mountains. I don't know if it would show up on a photograph, but I see it. I feel it. Okay. All right. Some of those are turning out. Let's just add a couple more. Try not to ruin some of the pieces that did turn out well. Sometimes, like, an area will, like, be looking really cool, and you just try to add more to kind of make it look better, and it ends up ruining all of it. So we're going to try to not do some of that and instead just sort of, there we go. How's that looking? Okay, I will admit, I really like how this is turning out. Which is terrifying, because now the first half of the painting is to make it. The second half is to ruin it. So I don't know if I'm in the second half yet. That's kind of the fun bit. You don't know which half of the painting you're on. You might have entered the second half of the painting, the ruining stage. All right, that should do just fine. So there's a couple more little kind of stacks and pieces up here. I think I need to put a couple of these in, and then I think we're just about done on some of these mountains. And the other parts should be dry enough to then add some more in. Okay. The concentration has begun. Sorry, don't mind me. Just trying to get these little tiny itty bitty pieces. There we go. Okay, something like that. Something like this. And I think we're probably in pretty good shape. Anything else? Time check. Oh boy. All right. Let's quickly let's start to add. I think we just have to. Here we go. We're going right into this layer here with this piece. So this one right here, fill that in. How are we doing? Things got bright again. So now let's add this layer right here. We're going to be adding a little bit of, whoa, oh my gosh, way too much. So that's indigo. That is what I wanted. I did not want that amount. So we're just going to kind of see if we can scoot it around. Woo! Sometimes you mean to pour a little bit of salt on your food, and sometimes you pour the whole salt shaker. And then you just get to figure it out. And I think we want just like a touch of green, not a ton, but I think like just enough so that it exists, but it's not much. And then I might add some kind of blues, and I might even do, maybe we'll do some moon glow, because I want some purple, some moon glow and some purple. Let's see how this turns out here. We've got a bit of purple, bit of moon glow, and we're just going to kind of work that one down. Yeah, I'll take it. Okay. Lovely. Let's do a touch more of this. I do really like a nice kind of sharp edge sometimes. Something kind of like that. There we are. And then as we kind of get close to the edge, it kind of fades itself a little bit. I'm not going to paint this mountain into. That one I'm going to avoid. So we're going to kind of let it fade out here with just the trees. I like it sometimes when things are intentionally left bare. It's kind of fun to see where it all comes from. You know, it's like leaving one of the layers, the panels kind of exposed. It sort of shows you where, how it all started. Like, 'cause it all did start with a sketch, and I feel like so often it's like the big fancy acrylics and stuff like that. Or oils. It's like they're too perfect. Like, show me where you came from. Show me your history. Painting. All right. Cool. That's looking cool. That's looking good. We still have two pretty huge panels that we're going to need to get to at some point. What I'm looking for, let's see here, is, how do I do this? I don't know what I think. I'm going to just kind of work our way down just a little bit. I'm going to turn to a friend. Sorry, just quickly, don't mind me. I'm just going to grab this, copy, this, paste. Oh. There we go. I feel like this is always kind of the toughest part of the painting too, where it's sort of like, what is the, like, what level of doneness do we do? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a bunch of these trees right now. Oh, too much green. I'm going to put a bunch of these trees right now because the trees behind them are actually quite dark. Like, they really are quite dark. So I'm going to add a bunch of these just kind of in, just to have it there. And in a second, I might be able to actually like kind of pull this stuff up and show you where we're at. But right now, let's just add a little bit of these in and kind of fade them out towards the base. Especially for our little skier, just kind of give them something to exist on. There we are. Okay, so we get these nice kind of lights, and we're gonna add a little bit of more green. It's funny, when you look at the trees, they're green. When you look at them out of the corner of your eye, they're kind of blue. So we're just going to add a little bit of that here. There we are. I feel like there's a moment in, especially a big painter, and you kind of need to re-up the enthusiasm. You know, you start with some enthusiasm, you're doing it, and then towards the end, you're fine because you're almost done or you run out of time. But then there's like the spot in the middle, these like doldrums where you kind of have to sort of hype yourself up a little bit. Which is what I'm feeling a little bit right now. Like you can't let off the gas, but you really want to let off the gas. Their cinnamon buns would come in handy. Just note to self: get cinnamon buns in the future, or a very warm tent. Okay, a little bit right there. Okay, we have that. How do I do this? Okay, I find in cold temperatures like this, you kind of need to use the nose is your best bet. What am I looking for? Twitch, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you. Okay, and we're back. So, we've got some of these nice kind of trees blocked in. We'll be doing some of those. I think this is dry enough where I can kind of push this off the edge. It'll be fine. I'm just going to scoop this right there. I don't think anything's too drippy. Let's keep on moving. Yeah, note to self as well. Don't paint anything that is bigger than your table. I think that's kind of like, what is it? Like, don't, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. I'm learning new expressions on this. His paper was bigger than his table. What was he thinking? Okay, here's a little bit of this. We've got some really cool kind of looks on this. Whoa! Oh, no. Hold on, sorry. That blue, whatever my blue is, I find that it is way too enthusiastic. It is, especially with gin, that is an alcoholic color. It is all about, the second it gets a chance, it runs with it, and that can be an issue. So I'm going to try to see if I can kind of subdue that just a little bit. That should be fine. Okay, we're just adding a little bit here, and we're just gonna, because I'm gonna leave this one blank, so we're gonna leave that a little bit blank, and then we're gonna just run with these greens and these blues coming right up to the top. There probably is a rhyme and a reason to a lot of what I do, but I don't always know if I know what it is, because I think in a lot of ways I'm just following the hands and the feel. Like, eventually, if you do enough sketches, you kind of get the feel for things. I'm sure that you could quantify it and put it in a book and do all these things, but it is lovely, just like when your hands know what to do, because you're kind of connecting with these places. Okay, a little bit there as well. Maybe even a bit of indigo. Okay, well, there's that. We'll just put a little bit of this over here. We'll call that a layer. And let's add a few more of these trees and then call stuff relatively good on this layer. And then let's get dark. Now it's going to be fun. Oh, and here comes the sun. Such confused weather. This place does not know what's happening. Okay, a little bit in here. A little bit over the edge. Oh yeah, I'm pretty close. Yeah, it's gonna be tight. But also the other lovely thing about Girdwood is, like, I've got to get to the Wounded Warriors workshop here in just a bit, but it's very close. It's all very close. It just might be kind of a sprint. I might be finishing this and running. We'll find out. You'll find out. Okay, so there's this. We have these big trees that need to go in. This stuff is mostly fine. If I need a little bit of stuff down here, I can add that right now. And I can always just add a bit of this. There we go. Let's maybe put in a bit of this layer. It's called dry brushing. I definitely need an umbrella hat. Yeah, that would save so much time. But like a big one, you know, like not like the joke ones, like a huge one. But yeah, an umbrella hat with a beer koozie. Absolutely. Why isn't that an art supply? Every art store should have one of those. Add some brush holders too. That'd make it even more helpful. Okay, so we've got a bunch of this. Those, as soon as those dry, we're adding that up here. It is kind of this weird chess game, right? Where it's like, right, what can I actually paint right now versus like what do I have to wait for in a little bit? I think what we can is we can start to add some of these. Let's see, we're just going to add a couple of these little trees. This might be out of your view here. Oh no, you can still kind of see it. Now that we got sun, keep on readjusting everything. Yeah, if I can figure this umbrella stuff, this might even help me for, you know, the summer. Alaska has a lot of light. That's not what I'm concerned at. Our light is so low, but oh boy, when I like travel abroad to places that actually have sun, like real, like strong sun, I feel like I don't know, like a naked mole rat coming into the light for the first time. It's like I have an Alaska tan. I'm just pale, pale, pale. A little bit in there. There we are. And okay, now's the point where it's starting to get good. So it's tempting to kind of slow down a little bit, but now is when you really have to pick up the pace. Because if you slow down, you can get kind of mired in these little nuances. I say this to myself, not to you really, but like you can get mired in these little nuances, and it is so easy to like just kind of get lost in a painting. But now is kind of when you need to complete it and really make a couple more of those brave strokes. What do they say? It's like a hero is only determined by like being brave, like being wildly brave for like 5, seconds or something. Watercolor is kind of like that. You got to be like crazy brave for like 10 minutes towards the end of your painting. But by that point, you kind of used up all your bravery and your gumption, and you have to see what's left. Okay, that looks as well. Okay, I'm gonna stick with a bunch of this. We'll come back in. We'll finish that up. That'll be dark, 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 dark. This, have to wait till that's dry. This, mostly there. So I think we're pretty good. The sky, we can come in the sky. Maybe finish up our sky. And then I think it's time to kind of switch over to those little glass little layers here. There we are, piece by piece. Oh my gosh, these little things. I've moved on from mittens to gloves, or gloves to mittens. Mittens to gloves? Anyway, I have gloves, as you can see. But most of this winter I was painting with mittens, which actually works surprisingly well, but it's nice that it's become warm enough to be able to kind of do the glove side of life. Although with Alaska, like I will hike the rest of the season, even into summer, with gloves on because you just have them because you never quite know when the weather will turn on you and you'll need the gloves. Girdwood is an amazing example. Okay, there we are. Okay, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. There's our sky, leaving that relatively blank. I do like how it looks, so we'll definitely leave that blank. A couple more of these. There we go. A couple more of those. There's some trees that are kind of like spattering into it, so we'll kind of show that in there. Gotta have it for work stuff. But this was so fun. Thank you for everybody who stopped by the way. We'll have the full thing here. I'll probably try to show it tomorrow. We live stream on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So this is just kind of an extra fun one because we have an event that took us to a pretty cool spot. So why not? Why not try to make a fun painting? Okay. I guess I could try to give these ones a go. How are we doing on some of this? What I need is maybe a little bit of, let's add some of these in the trees. Nope, don't like that yet. The brown. There we are. Okay. We're getting close, but hastiness now could lead us astray, quite awry. All right. Just a couple more. Let's try it out. Let's do some of this nice kind of more darker stuff in these trees. I'm going to add a little bit of some green, just kind of a base, maybe a touch of blue. And I don't even know when it happened, but at some point I switched to my slightly smaller brush. So that's kind of any brush I use could be able to do all of this, but also some are just more convenient. So we've gone slightly smaller now, and let's kind of add some of those little details, especially in the trees that kind of pop. Yeah, that's feeling right. Adding all these little details. And then because we added all these nice greens earlier, when we bring that nice dark layer from behind, it kind of creates this negative space that makes a tree. It's like right there, we just made a tree. It's kind of neat that way. I did that. Let's do a little bit of this. Okay, we're just moving. We're grooving, and we're going to try to outrun the weather and this sketch. Although, interestingly, the artillery strikes have stopped, so that's kind of cool. But what a wild thing! Not artillery strikes. What are they called? The rounds, the howitzer. The big guns have gone silent, which means that they must have figured out kind of which slopes were sliding and what needed some help. Oh, and here comes the wind. Okay, so this could get exciting. We're definitely getting the weather here too. I'm just seeing the really big drops are starting to fall. So let's see if I can't just quickly nail down a lot of this and just kind of call it good. We're getting so close. There's also zero shame in taking something like this inside. If you are outside and sketching, that is huge kudos. Like that is awesome. But also there's no shame in like, oh, it's terrible weather, I'm just gonna go inside. Or just going outside for a walk, getting a reference photo and going inside and making a sketch. I think that's something that I really want to dispel, because I do a lot of cool stuff outside, but I also take pictures and just go inside and make sketches from that. The first half of being a painter is just being inspired by something that you want to paint. So you don't have to trek out into the middle of nowhere to let your own eyeballs hit the light from there, and all these things. Like painting, first and foremost, should be fun. If you're having fun, it counts. But secondly, if you're inspired by something out there and you paint it, like you're just bringing the outdoors indoors, and that counts just as much. Oh yes, thank you. Sorry. Here's the painting, in case you didn't want to see my hand in the umbrella. All right, so here it is. We're just kind of moving forward. I love this kind of like wet, a little bit of the kind of scrappy look here of these trees, but actually it feels pretty accurate. The rain is helping, actually. It's sort of forcing that technique, but I'll take it. So we're adding. The closer we get, also usually darker things are, especially with bad weather. Just rain and stuff will literally just be in front of your eye, like. If you think between me and this sketchbook, there's probably 4 or 5 raindrops, but between me and that tree, there's probably maybe 100,000 raindrops. I don't know. And then between me and that mountain, there's probably 1,000,000 raindrops. So that's kind of why the further stuff away is, often the darker it is, whether it's raindrops or just air molecules or smoke or any of that stuff. Okay, a little bit here. Now this will be interesting, because this rain might actually be affecting some of these other pieces. When it's dry, rain or snow will do some really interesting stuff to the canvas. But when it's wet, it does some really interesting stuff. When it's dry, it'll still affect it. So there's some repercussions for painting in the rain. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to think here what I'm doing next. All right, got all this, got all that. Looking pretty good. This, basically done. This, a bit more love. But I don't think too much more love, actually. I like where this is going. We're just going to add a little bit of this here. And then I think we're pretty close. This is a pretty huge one. Okay. Look at the guy. Brian Birdsall, talking about Alaska fireweed painters. Very cool. Yeah. There's such talent in Alaska. It's kind of crazy, and it's like a little bit hidden sometimes too, because I feel like people in Alaska, I'm probably more braggy than most, but like they just do all this cool stuff. You like meet some fisherman who's just like catching salmon or something, and then they'll just happen to be also like an extremely talented painter or knitter or quilter or whatever it is. And I think there's just something about this place where it's like people just do a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to check out this fireweed sketches. I love fireweed. There's these really cool plants out here called fireweed. They're actually kind of everywhere. Like I think they're on almost every continent, maybe but Antarctica. They're pretty common in like one of those cool ways where it's like everybody kind of has their own, but they feel like they're your own. Like rats or something. But yeah, fireweed, up here, we use them to kind of tell the season. So they kind of start with these little sort of buds, and then the buds turn into little pink flowers. And as you go, they kind of go from the bottom to the top. And so by the time the flowers go to white, we often say that by the time the white reaches the top, you have 2 weeks until winter, which is, just as accurate as like any prediction these days. And so we often kind of base our fall on that. Our fall lasts, so it's such a fleeting thing, but it's so good. I love fall in Alaska so much. All right, so there we go. Some trees, more trees, some more trees after that. And we're getting close. We have to be. Okay, a little bit there. And let's add a couple more here. And then these trees all kind of move their way down. And then there's this one last little tree that is just sticking up where all the rest aren't. Okay. I love where this is going. Which I need to say now because in case it's ruined. All right. We have this. That is relatively good. We're just going to scoot this over just a little bit. How are we doing on timing? Oh boy. All right. Under an hour. Here we go. So that tree has a little bit of green in it. I'm going to add that now. And then in just a moment, we're going to add some of the other kind of darker colors. And we'll stick it together with a little bit of a trunk, which it has right there. Okay, here's some of these other colors. We got some blues. We have a little bit of some... there's some darker indigos, it looks like. So I'm just going to add a little bit of all of this. Okay, speed. And in just a second, we're going to... And then there's a couple over here. I think by the time we reach the other side, we're going to be close to done with it. So, or at least that's kind of, I think it has to be. So it's kind of like a printer or something, going for like the last pass as we kind of scoot around and over. There we are. Okay. So I'm just kind of filling it. And do you remember how I said earlier, I was going to use this, paint this tree in now because I kind of needed it to to be outlined. So this is me kind of filling in the darkness around it, which makes it stand out. These trees back here, these are nice and dark. We're just going to kind of fill those in. There we are. And they're getting darker and darker. Oh my gosh, yeah, here comes all that rain. Oh boy. This umbrella is actually working really well. I got this in Bellingham. I did a film, working on a film still in Bellingham, which is notoriously rainy. I think Girdwood and Bellingham, Washington probably has some pretty similar rain vibes. But used a little bit there. It was so rainy there, it was like actually almost ineffective. But I feel like this is going pretty well. All I need is like a little stand, or maybe even an umbrella hat. Okay, a little bit going down, a little bit going over. You can also make lemonade from fireweed. No kidding. I didn't know that. That sounds awesome. I'd have a glass of that. I'm all about lemonade, fireweed or not. Okay, we're just gonna hope that I can scoot this over without getting. I don't think my umbrella is big enough either. Both my table and my umbrella are just not up to snuff. Oh boy. Okay, let's finish these up then, and then we'll try to kind of scoot over. There we go. We're just going to put a little bit of that into here, this tree in particular. Yeah, we got some little bits of branches and some little details. There are all these little tiny pinprick marks of the rain, sort of giving some interesting texture to all this, which actually is pretty cool. I do think that of all the conditions, like wind isn't really going to affect, like wind is just going to ruin your sketch. It's not going to like add much to it. I do love the fact that there's little bits of rain. It's kind of this cool reminder of like what I was actually doing while this is happening. You can't really choose perfection when you're out in a place like this, because it's just not going to happen compared to like a studio, but you get something even better, which is kind of fun. through. We almost did it. You can tell people we're coming back, but whew. Okay. Well, that was exciting. All right. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up. We are running out of time. We are okay. I think it's basically there. I can show you. Should we hold this up? I think it's basically there. How are we doing on time? We're doing 119. We're doing pretty good. There might be a couple tiny things I tweak a bit later on, but I'm gonna add a tiny bit more. We're gonna let it mostly dry. I'm gonna show you a little bit of this just so you can kind of see. And then I'm gonna just kind of show you where we're at, because we're in a pretty cool place. Okay, a little bit there. There's a tree kind of going down through. We're gonna add a few more over here. And that should just about do it for today. Okay, so here is what I'm looking at. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to just get myself untangled here. Yeah. What do we got? 120? How much time? We're back. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Can we do the rest of this? Probably not that. What's this section left? What do we have here? That's looking all pretty good. I'm just gonna add just a little bit more. We're gonna add one more panel, and then we're done. And then we're done. For sure. Somebody time me. Give me 5 minutes. That's all. Okay, I'm gonna start with. There we go. I'm gonna start with our little. I'm gonna add a little bit of this. The brush is trying to escape on me. We're gonna add a little bit of this. I'm gonna add our little person, and then we're gonna be finished here. I've actually gotten hypothermic multiple times because of painting. Not significantly hypothermic, probably the first stages of hypothermia. But nothing has quite got me stuck in a spot wanting to finish a painting, which is so funny. Just how of all the things, it's not falling into a river or any of that stuff. I'm pretty good at figuring out that, but just sitting and wanting to make a sketch done is what will almost do me in. Okay, a little bit here. And okay, here. Don't do me wrong, Rain. A little bit there. I'm actually legitimate. I'm so stoked to see what this looks like all at once, because I haven't, because this table is too small, and I just can't see all of it at once. So in just a second, you are also going to be able to see all of it at once, and I am very excited to see how this shakes up. Also, I know it's kind of faulty, but how's that cool 2-camera thing? Pretty swanky, huh? It cost me several pounds and many wires, but it's kind of fun to be able to show you both things at the same time. Probably could just get a camera that I just move, but for some reason this seems fun, or more fun at least. A little bit of this here, and let's add one right over here. I hear a helicopter zipping by. A little bit in here. Now, this is a real testament to how much this means, because if I left right now and just left it half finished, I could get myself a sticky bun at the bake shop. But I am sticking around to make this sketch. Just let that sink in. right there, and then we got 1 or 2 trees just plain right at the top here. I'm gonna show you this in just 1 second. Once I kind of have this done, I'll move the camera over so you can actually kind of see what's happening here. But it's like these last little pieces kind of right toward the edge that need to happen in order for it all to kind of finish. So we're just putting in a few of those, kind of trying to decide how much of this painting I want to add in. Can you hear that helicopter? Beating the air into submission. There we are. Now, one dream one day would be just to like go see if one of the helicopter companies, they often take people out flight seeing. So, they'll take people out, see some cool stuff, fly them back, for like an hour. But they take people out to the same places. So a dream would be just like see if there's an extra seat on one, go out, end up in one of these gorgeous spots, make a really fun painting, for the course of a day, like while they're taking all these people, and then hope that they don't forget me, and then get a ride back. Could be kind of a really fun way to get some pretty cool places. But I could also just go on a long hike, I suppose, too. Make the same stuff happen, huh? A little bit there. And here we are. Okay, this is, I think, as close as we're going to get. Got these sides. That's done. That's done. That's done. We have our little tiny person. Got to add them in, of course. And then I think we're there. So here we go. Here's the last little one. Makes it feel like a more mobile studio. This is a mobile studio. It is really, isn't it? Okay, got a little person. I'm going to put him in red. I do not remember the color of jacket that our skiers are wearing. I think one had kind of a red jacket. The nice lady with the cocaine dog, she had an excellent sweater, but I need something kind of red. Stands out right here. There we go. A little bit of red jacket. And there we go. Calling it. It's done. You want to see it? Let me show you. Okay, here. This is... Just move this. How about I do this here? I think if I put this right there. Okay, I'm gonna, I think in order to move, I've got to lose my seat. So, let's put these back. Put this away. Here comes the rain. I can see it. Well, at least nobody's seeing me struggle to get up. Okay, there we go. Whew. And don't knock everything over. Don't knock everything over. Okay, here we go. So, here is, if I put this, I'm going to put this right here and quickly pick this up. There's a chance to kind of melt, get rain on. Okay, here's the sketch. Can you see it? This is what we're looking at. This is a long one, but I'm digging it. Isn't that kind of fun? And I like how it's like not fully filled in too. Would this be fun? I don't even know if you can make a print this big, but like this is, yeah, I really like this here. Let me see. Can we like line it up with the landscape? There we go. It is raining. It is raining significantly hard. It is not facing up, so unless it's just raining sideways, we'll be fine. There we go. Okay. So here's the sketch. Oh, it's an accordion notebook, so I'm just gonna fold it up once it stops raining. Which, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Step one might be to dry it off, and then I might take a picture when I'm back. We'll see. But there you go. Ta-da! Kind of a fun one, huh? All right, so I'm gonna place it like this. I think is the most rainproof thing that I can do with it right now is just like let it be vertical. There we go. Oh, my back. Isn't that a fun one? I'm hyped. I'm really hyped. Oh, also so sore. Oh. Just gotta stretch out the back and bones and everything. There's got to be a more ergonomical way to sketch. Maybe that's why people do the easel thing, so they can just kind of move while they do it. Or maybe it's just a bigger table, because then I could like use it as a massage table too, and like lay myself down. Okay. Well, there we go. There is our sketch. I'm gonna zip this back. I'm gonna pack things up, but I'm going to bid everybody adieu because I got to run over. We're doing that Wounded Warrior thing right now. But we do live stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So tomorrow I'll be doing another sketch. Probably not outside, but at least inside. And if you wanted to follow along, that'd be super fun. But mostly, just way excited how this turned out. This summer in particular, hoping to do a lot of really fun sketches and stuff like that. So if you get a chance, we've got a really cool Discord and a newsletter. So we've got the newsletter totally free. The Discord's totally free too. And so the sign up for the Discord is in the newsletter. So if you want to join on, we just send out really fun art stuff all the time. And then our Discord is this amazing community where we have cool things like challenges and just like cool people doing cool stuff. So if you ever want to see some, frankly, like I'm probably like the third or fourth best artist on our Discord. Maybe not even, actually. I think I'm in the top 10. But if you want to see some amazing art or also just like start yourself, that is a great place to do it. And then otherwise, let me know at least in the comments where I should go next, the next video. I'm going to go. But next live, let me know where you think I should go next for our next adventure. Ooh, I'm actually cold. I didn't realize how cold I was too. But I can't wait to share some more soon. Okay. I'm going to have to make this run. All right. Well, thank you so much.